Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to From the Stands Esports. This is our first rendition of this show we're going to be doing here. This is a brand I'm starting. It's a CDL focused brand. But the idea here is I want it to be more fan centric. I'm just a CDL fan. I'm a diamond ranked player. I'm not a pro player. So I want this to be more of a fan driven show where it's takes by fans for the fans. Kind of see what fans think of certain things, and that's kind of where I want to dive deeper into, and less of pure analysis of players. I'm not going to tell you who's the best and who's not, right? I don't know anything about that. I know what kills and what someone's POV looks like, but when you get to this guy's slow, that guy's not slow, he's kill whoring, I can see it sometimes, but I'm not going to act like I'm a professional, all right? We all just watch the sport. We think it's fun. That's why we're here. We're seeing this. It's because you like to watch the CDL. If you're not in the CDL, right? If you were in the CDL, you wouldn't be here. You'd be making 800K in the Falcons right now, right? And that's kind of where we stand. So for you watching this right now, it's Monday, August 11th, 2025. And yeah, that's kind of just what this is. I mean, we're gonna be posting just media stuff about the league as this roster media goes on, and then towards the season, the kind of way I want to do it is Monday we'll have our recaps of the games, what I thought, and we'll go through some Reddit and kind of think what people thought of the matches. Wednesday will kind of be more content, CDL culture based. We'll kind of just go over some basic stuff since the matches we already discussed in the Monday episode. And then Friday we'll have predictions. We'll have a lot of I'm going to put in a lot of polls on Reddit, on Twitter, that I hope you guys can get interactive with. And then we'll look at the results and discuss them from here. That's something I kind of want maybe in the comments and stuff as time goes on. Any questions questions or takes people have, we'll talk about on the show. We'll put it up on our social medias, and we'll kind of get a general census about what people think about it. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a more radio. I mean, I have my screen up so you can see what we're looking at. But I want this to be more of like a kind of a radio show. You just put it on, you just listen, and you just kind of catch up in case maybe you missed the action from the past week or so. We got you. We'll catch you up, and it's just a basic format is all it is. But first topic of the show, of the episode of the week, is this insane ROSTERMANIA we have going on currently. And I'll pull up the ROSTERMANIA.com where we can look at the rosters that we think are built out here. But it's kind of been a crazy. I've only been watching, for some background, I watched the CDL all of last year, all of this past season, a little bit in MW2, but not a ton. So this is kind of my first taste of a crazy ROSTERMANIA. Obviously, you get those little snippets in between majors, in between champs, and all that stuff, and you see people move around. And there's something about it. And I feel like it's more interesting than real sports watching this happen because it's only 4 players. You kind of know them slightly intimately because there's only 48 in the league. You see them pretty often. They're all over social media. So, I mean, I feel like something about ROSTERMANIA, something about changes and seeing a Ronnie intel or a flank emergency alert post kind of just gets me going. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's for everybody else, but especially this ROSTERMANIA, when we see teams like FaZe finally breaking up. I've watched 2 full seasons now, and I was already sick of that team. And I know they had technically failure of seasons, winning 2 events each year, but their champs didn't go as well as they wanted it to. But I was kind of just sick of them being consistently annoyingly good. Every time it looked like someone's going to upset them, barring the end of this past season, but they just always clutched up. They're so good. Sims the GOAT, the Beezy, the Tiny Terrors, the trio. Like, God, dude, I'll be honest, it pissed me off. I got nothing against any of these players on FaZe, but it would just annoy me for whatever reason. So seeing them split up is kind of fun because now there's a lot to go around. There's plenty of good players to go around. Optic is secure with their team. Miami was good, but now they're splitting up. Surge had 4 good players. They're all splitting up. So there's just a ton to go around, and then you throw in the Falcons here that are willing to spend as much money as possible to put some kind of stupid roster together. And it's just, I've seen Methods, I've seen Zoom, all the guys talk about how this is probably the craziest ROSTERMANIA we've ever seen, which I'm insanely lucky for it to be my second, technically, ROSTERMANIA off-season. And we're seeing stuff like this go. Last season, my first ROSTERMANIA, I'm a New York sports fan, so I just stuck with the subliners and then turned into Cloud9 this year. Pretty disappointing. First year was cool. I got to see my team win one, and then this past year was pretty miserable. I'll be honest. It was just like watching any other New York sports, to be honest. It's kind of miserable right now. But my first taste of WrestleMania with my entire team after we just made it the champs finals and came in second, just disbanding. Lost everyone besides Sib, which he didn't even have that great of a year this year. So pretty just horrific year for me as a New York fan, watching my first WrestleMania and just seeing Hydra, who I just loved so much because he was on my team and he was an MVP caliber player, and he's gone just like that, just gone, just like the Giants, New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, gone. It's the same thing. It's a pretty disappointing feeling to be a New York fan, especially right now with all the current things going on for us. But yeah, this thing is cooking up. Especially then you got teams like Thieves that even split up. That's this super team. They split up partially. Miami look great. They're splitting up. The whole entire the whole entire Seattle or Vancouver Surge team, split up in the duos and whatever and split off. So I mean, the few teams we think we have set right now, just based off leaks and what people are saying that we think are pretty set are the phase, with 04, Simp, Draza, and Abuza. None of that's set, but it seems like that's kind of where it's going to land. Thieves, I think Kenny seems to be pretty set in stone. Abizi maybe not so much, but that team looks insane. And then there was the crazy drama. I'm not even going to go fully in depth into this because there's just too much to cover there. But the Heretics, Koi, two Spanish teams. I'll be honest, I didn't even know Koi was a Spanish team, but it apparently is. And the battle for Real, which we could see Real on Koi leaving Miami, looking for their fourth, which makes it difficult for Miami because they're a Spanish-speaking team. So they force everyone to start speaking English and comms to go get someone, or they go find another Spanish-speaking player, which kind of sucks because they finally hit a sick form last year. Even though they didn't win anything, they were a deadly threat every single tournament that last half of the season. So it sucks now they have to make that decision who to go get. It kind of makes it more difficult for them. Makes it more difficult for them to attract somebody, knowing that it's a full Spanish team if they're going for a non-Spanish player. So that's kind of wild. And then you have the Falcons, this is kind of weird because they went and got Celium. That dude's got the bag. Absolute fucking bag. I don't even know how much it is, but it's something stupid. Same thing with Pred. This duo seems sick, but it's a weird team to judge because you have Falcons Xnid, which he has potential and he has looked good, but I just don't see that team being a top dominant team with him on there. Unless he can figure it out, but it doesn't seem like these are the players to learn from. Not that anything against these guys, but I feel like if you paired Exton with a more veteran type player, like he moves on Optic with Shotzi and just got to learn with Shotzi and Hook. Kenny, someone to learn from. I don't know. It just doesn't. Pred doesn't seem like the teacher, the mentor type to me. Celium, same thing again. I don't know any of these guys behind the scenes, so I could be just chatting shit. But and then Sib is rumored, possibly maybe him or Ghosty here. I think those are the two options they're weighing. It just feels weird because I mean technically this trio could be disgusting because when Sib is playing good is one of the best ARs in the game. His slaying power is disgusting. We saw it out in New York that second half of the season, or really the end half when we won Major 4 and then made the champs. At the end of the year, he took over. His slaying just went nuts, and that's what elevated the team. So the three could be good. It's the question mark of Exton. It's the question mark of their comms, the language barrier, who's going to be the leader, what Celium looks like without the trio. It's going to be an interesting combination there. It's going to be somewhere we're going to have to watch. Obviously, this isn't set in stone, but I think Exton obviously is quick to be moved if need to be mid-season. And then there's the rest. General Mates could be in a good position. They have a big fan base. They got a lot of money. We'll get into one of their topics in the Reddit read I'll go through, but it kind of I don't even think Spart's here, but it kind of neither is Dylan Rex. His brother's gone. This is kind of where the trash is gonna fall, and it sucks. Once again, I'm gonna watch a ROSTERMANIA happen. All the sick players land up here. We're gonna get stuck with a couple players who have potential. We're gonna get stuck with the Nero, Kremp, players like that can be good, but also aren't gonna win you a championship alone. It's probably gonna feel like a year this year, maybe slightly better, just inconsistent. One day we're competing with FaZe, next day we can't beat, the basic bottom team. So I'm scared. I'll be completely honest. As a Cloud9, I'm a New York fan. I'm a Cloud9 because they're Cloud9 Call of Duty, but as a New York COD fan, it's a scary offseason to watch. Watch all these good players fall amongst these basically six, and then the next up would be here. Then probably G2. We're gonna be a bottom 3 team, dude. God fucking damn it. Oh man, it's not gonna be. It's just my first year watching my New York team with Hydra. It was every match was intense because we should be winning it. We're good. We're competing for championships. And then this year it was just like hard to watch. I find myself I'm like, yep, we just got smoked 6-0. Cool. Like we had a period where we were decent, and like maybe we were like a 5th, 6th team, and then we just fucking fell off the cliff from there. We had, you know what it was? We had one tournament, Major 2, maybe. We came out, we beat Ultra, which Ultra was good at that time too. Beat them 3-1 first round. Then we move on and we have to play fucking FaZe. We lose to them. We drop down. We have to play fucking Thieves. So I mean, we played 3 of the top 4 teams at that time. Beat one of them. I think we had a decent series against FaZe. We lost 3-1, I think, but it was still like a decent series if you looked at it like outside of just the score of the overall games. But it was like when we finally looked like we had something. If we just had a slightly easier route, we could have made a deeper run and just given ourselves some more confidence. But and then from after that stage, it was just downhill, and I feel like everyone kind of forgot about that. Like I never heard anybody talk about it. It was kind of annoying as a New York fan. I'm just like, no one's gonna bring up the fact that we had the hardest road fucking possible as a team that just beat Ultra, looking good, and then we just got cracked by FaZe and fucking Thieves right back to back. It was tough to watch, tough to just sit there and eat that. And then, like I said, we never found that form again. We switched teams up. It's never seen. We went and got Gwyn for EWC, and I thought that honestly would look good, and we looked like dog shit. So I don't know. It's shaking up to be crazy though. I mean, I really feel like this could be an even level playing field. It's gonna be so much fun to get to watch all these different players play together. Especially this FaZe. I want to see what Simp looks like. Thieves. See what this team looks like with Kenny on it. I mean, it's shaping up to be an actual like legit fun year to watch. Got some COD. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. So let's take a look over here at Reddit. I've saved some posts to kind of just go through that I thought were interesting. We'll take a look at. Excuse me, I got fucking some bullshit in my throat. Rank these teams from best to worst. We have FaZe, Koi, Falcons, LAT. In my opinion, if Kenny is just the veteran leader that he needs to be, if he is just leading the team, leading the comms, and can just play kind of how he did on Rocker and just be a leader to these players, I think he'll automatically be better being surrounded by these 3 fucking gods of players. So I'm not too worried about that. So I think I have LAT at 1 here. It's so hard to tell. I would put LAT 1. Koi. It's so hard. The FaZe could be good, or I would go LAT, Koi, FaZe, Falcons, just because Falcons are so unpredictable. But this really could go anywhere. I feel like LAT is a pretty sure fire for that number 1 spot, but I'll take a look and see what some other people are saying. Some people have FaZe second. I still don't understand why FaZe went for 04 over Neptune. I know 04 is good and all, but I just feel like Nep would have been a better option, hands down. I feel like I see that because Neptune was the one that came on the team, made them electric. But 04, you pair him with someone like Simp, who is just a great veteran, great player. But you give him someone like 04, who's just a search nerd and pretty consistent throughout the year. I feel like they will just feed off of each other's energy. And Abuza, we've seen him be pretty great. Draza, as long as when he's playing good, he's great. But I don't mind 04 over Neptune here. Maybe you kind of let Simp go a little more rogue, go a little more crazy, let him be more freed up, because he kind of looked not like himself towards the end of this year. But Falcons are dog shit. All I know, I will be here for Salian, Pred, and Simp. Hate watch. That's great. Good for you, man. But I do think Falcons are number 4 on this list, just because it's unpredictable. Yeah, the whole team just kill whoring. I can see that because we know Saliam he's gonna drop a 1.2. That's what he does. Sib, much as I liked him being on my team 2 years in a row, he's a great slayer, but I can also see him just overheating, looking for kills. Pred can be the same way. Like I said, they don't have someone that like. That's why I think Kenny fits here on LAT, because he's kind of the one that's gonna base the team, sit back, play OBJ, direct the team, and be that guy who's gonna do that. And I don't see any of these guys doing it, especially because. I mean, maybe Exton's going to be forced to do it, but is he going to know how to do that shit, all those basics, the fundamentals properly like that, with only being his second year in the league? Not really getting much time with actual pros he's playing with. Yeah, it seems like a pretty pretty good consensus here that we have LAT number one out of these squads. I mean, you have Scrap and Hydra on the team. They've been top 3 MVP voting spots the past 2 years. So pretty disgusting too. I don't really see that ever being an issue once you have those join your team. But I'd bet real money on Ghosty and Neptune, Nasty and Envoy. This is for Gelmates. I saw this, so these people are they're thinking we're getting Envoy, Ghosty, Neptune. What else did he say? He said, "Oh, Nasty." I fuck with this. They've played together. I think Envoy has his times where he's just consistent. He's good. He's not Hydra, but he also is still an Envoy. He's won a world championship, so he has potential to pop off. He also shows up in big games. Towards the end of the year, he didn't look the best, but he showed up in big moments, especially early on in the year against FaZe and stuff. You'd think it'd be Hydra and Scrap, and it was him kind of stepping up a lot. So, Ghosty, great comms, great leader, great teammate. Nasty, I think, is the same way. I think he's just a team player. He wants to win. That's it. And you have someone like Neptune who's just going to let loose and go out there and slay. So, I think I see a lot of people saying this too. I think this is the team that can go out there and you're not someone. This is a team you don't want to play round one, right? If you're FaZe, if you're Optic, if you're Koi, LA Thieves, you don't want to play this team round one because it's not an easy matchup. It's kind of like a scuffed. Like I can see this team losing to like random ass teams throughout the stage, giving them a weird seed, and they verse like a top team and they bump them. I can see that happening. I don't see them winning a chip. I don't see them having that consistent of a run to win a chip, but I don't know. That's not a team I'd want to play first round. This is one I was interested. These two Falcons ones, and then move on to some of the posts I had. Is Falcons good or bad for the league? This is an interesting one because I can see both sides of it. I'll click in and see if anyone's got anything to say here, but I can see both sides. You have a big team with a big fan base. Falcons fans are crazy. We see them every time we go to EWC. They're always showing out. So a big fan base, bringing big money, a team that wants to win, right? They're not a team that's going to be here just to say they're in the CDL. Like they're going to go out and buy players and try to win, which is always good for the league. But the fact that, Royal Ravens isn't going to compete with Falcons ever, literally ever. Seattle Surge are not going to compete with them, right? There's a very few teams that can do so, and it does feel like it's a team that's just like when players are like, my team sucks, I'm gonna go get the bag at the Falcons. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I honestly don't mind. More eyes to the league, more money in the league. The players get more money, which I always think is a good thing. But this guy says bad, but I'll also argue that teams only paying minimum contracts and not really trying to win, exactly what I just said, is also bad for the league, right? I'd rather have a team that's going to come in and try to win and pay players good money to keep this league healthy. I'd rather that than team coming in getting just bottom tier players that when the season comes, they're a bottom 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 team. So again, there could be issues with it, but it's going to be a bigger problem in the future to become. It's a hostile takeover. They're going to take over in 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I mean, I guess there were rumors that other Saudi teams were going to move in, and maybe that could be an issue of all of a sudden the entire league is just bought out by Saudi teams that kind of take away. I think we'll always have the big four, the Thieves, FaZe, Optic, Koi, Ultra, whatever. But I can see that fear that there were rumors that they were going to come in and start buying teams like Ravens, like maybe Surge or whatever. So I don't mind the Falcons. That's my opinion on it. This guy sent a monkey drinking a Capri Sun. I don't really know what that is, but NHL played a huge role in building this community to what it is today. The reason why the money involved has gotten to ridiculous. I would much rather see some of the best players in the league playing for Nadeshot's team over a team with no connection to COD. I get that too. Like Nadeshot represents Call of Duty. 100 Thieves is a big brand. It's a well-known brand. It's a respected org. So it's a brand that comes in, Falcons, that they have a Warzone team and this COD team this past year. So they really never a COD organization. Nadeshot, right? LTs have always been that, or at least always tried to be that. So I can see that you want to keep it COD centric and a team that's just going to come in, just throw money at the best players, and then maybe not really care as much, right? They're just like, throw money at the league. Let's try to win. If not, whatever. That's almost like a side project to them, maybe. But I could see both sides of it go. So, and then one other one, and this kind of just funny. Happy that Scump retired before Falcons came. What kind of fucking bag would Scump have fucking gotten, dude? I don't even care if he was 28 at the time. They would have absolutely attempted to go after fucking Scump and thrown this dude a million plus. The biggest name in Call of Duty ever. The best player ever, according to a lot of different people's opinions out there. But Scump was probably upset he wasn't born later. I would be too. Imagine that. Playing COD and all of a sudden you're like getting ready to retire and then a team comes out of nowhere and he's already got money, but like players like Cell and Pred that like FaZe isn't working out anymore. Pred's optic situation didn't work out, and then boom, you have an opportunity to go make an absolute bag. Still have a competitive team, so they're going to try to field a competitive team no matter what. But it's just, I mean, it's a pretty sick opportunity. Like, I can make how much money to play COD? Like, that's got to be insane compared to going to some bottom tier team and trying to win there, which would be cool too. But you're not making nearly as much. So, dude makes 1 million plus doing the watch party, start streaming easily. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's enough for him to come out of retirement. I mean, well, they said here's $1 million to come play, maybe, but I think he makes plenty of money on his watch parties and all that shit, and he's proven everything he needs to prove, so he's taking that money for sure. They offer him $1 million to unretire, and he's a Falcon tomorrow. I wonder what the Falcons would offer the Dynasty after I did. That's true too, because they split, right? I don't know. I don't know too much lore in COD history, but I know that they won the Dynasty won the chip, and then it wasn't too long after until they disbanded. They would have absolutely been coming as soon as they heard there were problems. As soon as they heard contracts were up, they would have been fiending at every single one of those players. They would have just rebuilt the Dynasty over on the Falcons, and it probably would have solved all the issues that those players were having with each other just by the money. Like, you know what? I was mad at you yesterday, but we're both making a meal. Let's put this behind us and go play some Call of Duty for fucking $1 million. I wonder how that would affect some of their careers though. Like knowing that just because you're Formal or Crim6 or Karma or Scump, like those names carried so much weight and always will. Like that's gotta take away some of your drive, because I think we had Kenny had someone tweeted a clip of Kenny talking about how young players just play to secure their spot, and Ben Beans is kind of defending it, being like, well, this is their livelihood, and if their team isn't good, they know it isn't good, like, you kind of have to play to keep your spot, which it sucks because you want to play to win. You should be playing the right way, but that might make your stats look a little less glamorous, and that might lead to you not getting a spot the next year and then not making any money. So, it could be a real concern. But if you had a ton of money playing, then maybe you also don't give a shit about winning as much anymore because you're making so much money, become complacent. The prize money pools aren't as much to you as they used to be because you're already making that salary yearly. So I don't know. It would have been interesting to see. I mean, like Cell is almost that for this era, like one of the biggest names. Next, I mean, really, it should be Simp and Hydro, the other Simp, Hydro, Scrap, which they went after all of them. So, but just, I mean, Scump is that name carries too much weight to even compare to anybody else right now. Yeah, I just thought those were funny. There's a few posts I had. Let's take a look. I said, this is the one I was really interested to see, is who has the most to prove next season now that they aren't with each other? Cell, Abizi, or Simp? With the trio splitting, we haven't seen... Cell has never won without the trio. Abizi or Simp have never won without each other. So now they're all split up, because the thing has always been like, well, is Simp that good, or is his teammates that good? You know, is Cell kill whoring, or is he not? Well, they're winning. How could he be kill whoring? But his KD's always a 1.2. Even when they come in top 6 at Champs 2 in a row, he's still dropping a 1.1 plus or whatever every single time. Like, every time FaZe loses, he somehow still has a ton of kills. And then BZ was always a second-hand man to Simp. So I kind of want to see like what people are thinking in terms of like who are they watching to see is going to be that guy next year, like to prove like, hey, it wasn't just that trio. Like I was that good. Probably selling him. He doesn't win on another team, then the community will see his play style as a reason FaZe underperformed. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Selling was a scapegoat. That's a lot of the consensus I saw here was Selling was the scapegoat. A lot. Whenever time they played bad, well, it was always like, Cell's playing too slow. Like last year when they almost broke up, or people thought they almost broke up, and then they won EWC. The whole thing was it's Cell's play style. He's too slow. He's playing for kills, and everyone thought he should. Even beginning of this year, when they started off like 0-3, people were calling for Cell's name. So I personally think it's Cell to prove that like he wasn't the issue, but I'm super excited to watch Simp This year could be a legacy-defining season, being split from the trio, and there are multiple rosters that are better on paper. I think he's in a prime position to up his legacy standing by leading his team to upsets. Very excited to watch him this year because I think he'll look back to MVP level after a decline performance this season. That's all. That is a big one. Again, they all have something to prove. Simp, we already know how he's up there on the all-time list, and it's the debate of putting him in that list or not is if like he's had this good team his whole career, right? So now without that good team, he's technically going to come into this season. I think no matter how this ROSTERMANIA shapes up, it's a pretty fair bet to say that he's not going to have the best team, maybe not even the top 2 or 3 teams. So on paper, he's going to be an underdog. We haven't seen that in a while. FaZe comes in every single tournament as a pretty heavy favorite. So to see him in an underdog spot, he has the chance to have a tournament run where he just puts his team on the back and goes for a crazy tear and go get it. Especially if he wins a chip. If he wins a chip, it's kind of hard to deny him as they go. If he wins a chip with a team that on paper is not nearly as good as Thieves or especially a team like Optic right now. But Simp his whole career, people trying to discredit him because he's always surrounded by S-tier players. Yeah, so again, the thing for Simp is he's surrounded by good players, so how good is he actually? We all know he's the best there, but how good is he without them? For Cell, is his play style the issue, or can it work in any system, right? Were those players enabling him to do what he was doing, or can he do anywhere? And then I think for Abizi, I saw some for Abizi down here earlier. But I think Abizi won't be the main star of his roster, so he'll still be seen as the third best player on the team. Simp and Selling need to perform at their peak for their team to secure wins. Yeah, I think Abizi does have, while he still has a lot to prove, I think, to be like without Simp, I think he has the worst opportunity to prove it, if that makes any sense. Like he's teaming with, now he went from that trio to Scrap and Hydra, the next 2 best players in the league, if not the 2 best players in the league. So, I mean, they can go win, but it's just like, well, he won with Simp and Cell, and now he's winning with Scrap and Hydra. It's like interchangeable. So, unless he is the best player on this team, he comes out this year as the best player on this team, it's a different story, but I think he has like the hardest opportunity to prove anything compared to Cell and Simp. All 3, they have to prove they can win without each other. Remember, yeah, they never won outside each other. Abizi and Simp haven't won without each other, but they've won without Cell. Cell has never won without Simp or Abizi. It's probably Simp because he's the one who's in the GOAT debate. Abizi and Selling never really in those talks, so unless they're awful this year, they can't take that much damage to their legacy. That's true too. When you're not in the GOAT talk, like we know we put Simp above Cell and Abizi, but Simp will get way more hate or discredit because he's the one who should be playing great. But no matter how much hate or discredit or negative comments, no one will ever go ahead and just like, you know what, he's below Celium and Abizi. That won't happen. So he has the most criticism that could come his way. But Abizi and Celium, if they don't play as well, they'll get criticisms. But people will still just always say that they're good because they don't expect them to do what they expect Sim to do. So overall, I think people are thinking that Cell has the most to prove, but Simp has the most for his. Simp has the biggest opportunity for his legacy. Cell is the most to prove for the whole trio situation. And another topic I wanted to jump into here before we kind of start wrapping up is something they call the 404 spotlight. The 404 is the error 404. So whenever you see an error online, like error 404 website not found, it's when you type in something that's not like a website, you typed it in wrong, so it can't find it. It'll say error 404 website whatever or this whatever not found. So that's kind of like the motto we have here is it's almost like the underdog. Like one of our sayings for the stands is 404 talent not found, but at work ethic loading. In the sense of, you might not have the talent, you might not be the best player in the world, but you might have that work ethic, right? Not everyone has the talent in them to be the Hydras and the Sims, but you can work your ass off and put in the effort to get to that point to be pretty good. So 404 spotlight, and they simplified for you, just highlighting a underdog player, underdog person, underdog aspect of something. And in this week, we got a fucking ad on the highlights. Son of a bitch, dude. This week sounds a little weird, but there's no games going on, so I don't really have an underdog. I'm going with the 404 spotlight of the week, Ben J. Nassim. Hate me for saying it. I don't give a shit. He is the Stephen A. Smith of the league. Players get fed up with him. Players hate him for his takes. They call him a fucking bum. He's not a pro. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But at the end of the day, he's providing content for the league, which in turn helps grow the league, right? You might hate Stephen A's takes. Stephen A is not an NBA player, but he comes out and gets in beefs with LeBron. Fucking LeBron. But at the end of the day, people watch Stephen A. Smith. People watch his show. I mean, he is a media guy. I mean, you can't blame him. That's his job. Like, that's how Ben makes his money. He goes on stream. He talks about the CDL in a media journalist manner. So if that annoys you, I get that. It's fine. Stephen A. Smith pisses me off all the time, but I think Ben J is the Stephen A. Smith of the CDL. You need his takes. You need the content he provides, whether it's horrible takes or just annoying, whatever you think it is. But you need it because that's content for the league. And the other day, the more content, the more views, the more engagements we get on this league, the better it'll be overall. So, Ben J and his team, 404 spotlight for the stands, episode 1. That's love it or hate it, right? Love it or hate it. That's what it is. There's no games this week, all right? Usually this will be players, but I got Ben J right now, bro. He's on a historical run. I think half the league wants to fist fight him, and the other half of the league just calls him like retarded, and that's kind of where it's at. And he takes it. I'll give it to him. He takes it. He can be annoying, but he does just kind of eat whatever comes his way. So I'll give him that credit. That's gonna do it, man. The first episode or first edition of this show, the From the Stands podcast, everything CDL. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Keep an eye on our socials on Twitter, especially. We're gonna have some fan polls going out questioning certain topics involving the CDL and involving COD overall for the next episode. So we'll kind of collect some data. We'll bring it on the show next week with everyone's answers, and that'll be some of the topics. So we're talking college COD. We're talking, does the CDL have a marketing issue, and should Cloud9 tank for Arch Manning? I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.